Hi, my name's David Readman. Check out my new single.
Looking for the answers that I cannot find. I was just so wrong to know the love is
Shelter from the Storm.
I've been searching for the reason in my heart. Now I know.
Available from the 2nd of April. From my upcoming record, Medusa. Available on all good streaming sites.
Someone show you, girl, to make a bone man bleed. I see it in your smile, I know that you're so sweet. I know right now it's just a wicked game. In my heart, I always have the blame.
Good evening and welcome to Tuesday Night Fun and Games, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. You just can't seem to get the staff these days, but that's all right. That doesn't matter. Hope everybody's safe and well. Here I am again, Tuesday night. The last stream was on Friday. As usual, I hope you can hear me, of course. Something that I always ask, and because it's always strange. Just be like 10 minutes before I go online. It's not like I've got everything set up and I'm ready to go. I've always got to get ready and, oh, wait a minute. Wait a minute. Good gracious me, I forgot something there. Oh no. One of the most important parts of the show, as you can see, the tape machine's now involved in the show. This is a really important part of the fun and games. 50% mayhem, pure mayhem, and 50% constructive streaming. On Friday night, I don't know if any of you guys tuned in, maybe you've checked it out on my vlog, but I decided that instead of having a guest, that I would just call anybody up at random, like a Russian roulette thing. So that's what we did. We called up like 2 or 3 people in Spain and in Germany. In Holland, I called Mark up. He's watching tonight from Hawks Radio, Night Flight Radio. And we had a lot of fun and games that night, believe you me. And that, at the end of the day, it's what it's all about. When it comes to the music does the talking. That's the serious side of the stuff. But the other side, you know, fun and games. That's what it's all about. Like I said, hope everybody's safe and well. Let's have a look and see if there's anybody online tonight. Good gracious me. Can I see it without my glasses? Not a chance. Who's online? Let's go to the top. Let's go right to the top. Mark's online. Hey, good evening. Sarah's online. We couldn't manage without you. We got Phil Scott. Greetings, gang. We got 19 people in the house. It's just incredible, isn't it? It's just absolutely fantastic. Got Kate's in the house. Kate Barnwell. Hello, everybody. Kate, lovely to see you. Sandra's in the house. Mari Castillo. Tienes tapas? Sí, tienes tapas. Baz is in the house. Hi, hi, Big M. Big M. Good evening. Yes. Wunderschönen Abend, David. Ja, danke schön. How would you pronounce your name? You can't really tell me, unfortunately, unless I call you up tonight. Who knows? Natsuko, Japan's in the house. Rizzy Rocket, good evening, David. We here, but kind of low sound. Maybe make it a bit louder. Yeah, well, you see, that's what I'm looking for. I'm looking for a bit of input in that respect. Let's go a bit like this, if possible. A bit like that. You know, to be honest, you know, I'm looking back at these videos and I'm striving. I'm trying so hard to, you know, to improve things. But the audio thing, which you would think that I maybe know about, obviously being a musician and recording vocals and stuff for my latest solo record, you'd really think and believe that I get that get that, you know, running for whatever reason. But it doesn't like me. It doesn't like me. Sometimes it's out of sync, sometimes it's quiet and stuff. I do not know. I've been looking on YouTube, of course, where if you don't know anything these days, you go and look on YouTube. If you need to fix your car, you look on YouTube, isn't it? We got Brezico in the house. You move streaming locations. Location. Yeah, I hope you can hear me. I've now turned it up a bit. It might be distorting, I don't know. Actually, I'm still in the same spot, but I've brought in my trusty tape machine. Now, back in the day, of course, these days we're like, used to MP3s on your phone and all that kind of stuff, which is quite honestly ridiculously boring. But back in the day, they were spoilt with machines like this, and believe me, I don't even have to listen to what's coming out the damn tape. I just have to see it turning, and I just think it's fantastic. Actually, maybe we should increase the speed. No, we need it a bit faster, I think. Yeah, you'd make it slower, and that would improve the quality of the recording on the tape. Yeah, boom. You look happy every week. Well, to be honest, tonight is... The reason I'm happy tonight is because I'm drinking this nonsense from Aldi. Really cheap, absolute nonsense energy drink. And I'm over the moon. I certainly feel it. Now, tonight... YouTube just told me tonight that I'm... doing something rather naughty with my bit rate, but anyway, we won't go there. But like I said, I hope everybody's really well. I just got the mix back from Dennis Ward for the second single, and it's been absolute mayhem, let me tell you that now. It's been like, it's not been a lot, but it's been, finding that sound, finding the sound. It's got to fit the other track. It is a bit different, this track. It's not miles away. It's still melodic rock, of course, a bit heavier. It's a rocking track, and it was just finding the right ingredients, you could say. And of course, working with my sidekick Julian Sprutels, maybe he's online tonight, and a lot of back and forth, testing stuff, looking for a good sound. And yesterday I uploaded it onto CD Baby, so it's on its way to Spotify and all the streaming places. The thing is now, at the moment, of course, I'm busy as hell at the moment, brainstorming like you've never known, trying to work out what I'm going to do for a video, because we've done the lockdown inside video. That worked really well, but the next thing is I want a bit more of an action type video, and I'm kind of looking for somewhere to do it and whatever. But like this sort of derelict building thing, which I'd love to have, looks thin on the ground, and it's kind of like these days with the corona, can I go in your building and start filming, that kind of thing. Yeah, chat with Dennis Ward in the future. Hola amigo, greetings from Barcelona. I'm at work and I'm trying to listen to you. Yeah, well, I know what that means. Anakta, Beto, good night, everyone. Oh, okay. Well, we're not going to bed just yet. We got a show to do. Everybody's in the house. I hope everybody can hear me. That's fantastic. As you can see, I've got the chats on the screen for you guys. You can look at that and obviously look at the chat at the side, which is always a nice thing. Tonight we're going to focus on a couple of things. We're gonna celebrate my new record as usual. The second single. We just did the reveal of the drummer. I'm still waiting actually for some videos from the rest of the guys. So I'm kind of like, waiting around. Obviously, these videos I need for the video, and of course the reveals. But what I wanted to show you tonight was this here. This thing here, I just pulled out of a cupboard somewhere. Now look at this. More Than One Way Home. I don't know if you can see this. I'm going to open it up and show you this inside. Now this is, funny enough, when we made the album More Than One Way Home, actually you can pull it out. Yeah, so you can find your way home with this basically. And we made the record, and this was something that you could also order, or I think it was maybe you ordered with it, or you got like a certificate of authenticity, which is quite incredible, isn't it, from Voodoo Circle. It's a while back, of course, since this record was released, and I found this recently, and wondering if any of you guys have got this at home. Yeah, it's 500 copies that was made with this special certificate from Voodoo Circle back in the day. And yeah, I guess that's like 6-7 years ago, something like that. That's kind of a focus, of course, tonight a little bit, and of course the latest Voodoo Circle record. I've got the vinyl here, Locked and Loaded, which was just released already like a couple of months ago. As you can see, it's rather fantastic. That's quite an amazing picture in there. We look very young on that picture, by the way, you know. But tonight, actually, I have a video that a young lady sent to me from a very far off country. Now, this is a video that was taken, and that's kind of old-fashioned talk, isn't it? Taken back in, maybe she can help me with that tonight a little bit with a comment, or, you know, in the chat or whatever, with the exact date when Pink Cream 69. Actually, let's check some of the chat first. I'm going to tease you guys a little bit. I've got a little bit of video for you. Let's go down. Great album. That's pretty cool. It's a compass. One eyes are eyes. Ollie Hoffman in the house. Good gracious me. Good to see you. Yeah. Quick, going back to chat with Dennis Ward in the future. That could happen. I don't know what Dennis is like for, you know, that's always the thing. It's kind of like, you know, probably easy to call someone up and say, look, you know, do you fancy coming on my show? Maybe with audio. That's one thing, which is a nice thing. But the video is something else. And I don't know if everybody's ready to do that. You know, maybe they are. That's why I kind of did the call up anybody type thing, you know. Dennis is a busy man. Luckily, you know, because we're all in difficult times. He's busy, and I'm sure he's glad about that. And he's a busy man. I don't want to bother him, you know, but it's something to consider, you know, later in the day to get him on. We can talk about, you know, how we mix the songs and stuff like that, and how he sets up a mix. That's always a good thing, always very interesting, you know. And something that we were going to actually try for this latest song, he's got like a new plugin. You put it at the end of the mix on his computer, and he can send you a special link, you know, obviously whoever he's mixing for, and you can listen live to the mix that he's doing, and you're there in a way. You know, obviously you need your speakers, and you can have a good listen, maybe headphones, and you can change things, you know, with him live, you know. So it's a great thing. I mean, you know, in these times, we need it, of course, you know. But that's a good question. What's it like in the UK these days? It's been, I guess, a week, more or less, since things opened. I've seen a lot of pictures of very cold people outside at bars and stuff like that. Apparently on the 28th here in the Netherlands, the terraces, beer gardens, are going to open. You're allowed 50 people outside. You have to register, and 2 people per table. So as you can imagine, you know, it's a bit different than you guys. We're all jealous. Yeah. Mark, and I will do it. Mwah, yeah, boss. Love it. Got the brown marble colour vibe. Yeah. Hey, man, it's just incredible how it turned out. It's just such a shame, though, in respect, you know, how, like, you know, we've released it, and obviously we made like 2 or 3 videos and stuff like that. Normally we'd go on tour, you know, we go live, but that's just not going to happen, is it? You know. So what time is it? What time is it? 15:15. I think we've got 22 online. I've got 22 online. I think it's time to show you guys a little glimpse of this video when Pink Cream 69. Wait a minute. Thursday. When Pink Cream 69 went to Brazil. Now we have a little bit of video here for you guys. It's very old and abused. It's in the time, you know, when VHS and all that business and the old-fashioned cameras were the heyday. So of course it's rough. It's rough. It might even be better quality than my stream, though. But we're going to go there now. We're going to go a little bit in there. You know, we're not going to go too crazy. We're going to have a look a little bit. You can see a young me and a young Dennis Ward and a young DC Cooper and very young other people as well. Like I said, it's a bit rough and ready. Here we go.
Bom, essa é a carta que a tia Carla Abundância mandou para você.
O que eu falei?
Querido Doni,
Tá joia, Paulo.
como você está? Espero que tenha tido um ótimo voo. Infelizmente eu não posso estar aí para te encontrar.
Tudo bem.
Porque as garotas que estão pagando para
A garota, the girl. Tranquilo, vai ver o mestre?
Ah, perfeito, porque essas coisas só precisa amanhã mesmo. Isso. Não, não, essas
So as you can see there, you didn't quite catch me. I think you got DC Cooper, if anybody knows DC Cooper, and also the guys actually from Primal Fear, Matt Sinner, and the singer there from Primal Fear. Back in the day, I mean, we're talking like must be 20 years ago, maybe not quite, but it's been a while, that's for sure. And that was the first time that we went to Brazil with Pink Cream 69. Now I'm not sure if it was, I think it was the first time that when we went there. That's right, we played with Primal Fear, and it was really strange because we were supposed to go on stage at like 11, 12, you know, maybe something like that, 1 o'clock. But I think we went on stage at like 2 in the morning. The festival was finished about 5, 6 in the morning. I couldn't believe it. The people were still there going crazy. That was Brazil for you. It was hot and sweaty, rock and roll. The people were still there going absolutely crazy, man. You know, Brazil is a very different place. There was a certain level of chaos involved, if I remember. Let's see what we're going on. What's going on in the chat there. Yes, an actor. Yeah, Ralph Sheepers with hair. Yeah, man. Big style. Terrasse pakken binnenkort. Yeah, man. That was our first time in Brazil. And yeah, Ralph had hair back then, of course, before he cut it. And it is a long time ago. And yes, an actor is actually in the video as well. You know, she was, I don't know if she brought us over for the first time. The second time no, it was actually the first time. And it's funny because you'll see quite soon, we ended up on a bus to the next concert. Now, when we got to the second, we were on this bus like most of the day. The whole band, you know, DC Cooper. At that time, he'd made a solo record, and Pink Cream 69 with a backup band. So he would, you know, he would play like in between, I guess, Pink Cream 69, DC Cooper, and Primal Fear. And so we're all on this bus, you know, and we get to this concert, and it's like quite a small place. We get inside, and there's no stage, and there's no PA system. Now, apparently the guy said something like, don't worry, we're going to build this thing up real quick, and it's going to go real fast. But it didn't. So what happened is we just left. We left. The people outside, the poor people outside were waiting. You know, we just left and we drove back to the hotel. There was nothing to do. You know, it was like 1,000 people in the bus. There's nowhere to put these people, no stage, no equipment. So we drove back, and we'd driven like 3 or 4 hours, you know, so there was only one thing to do. And that was to get loads of beer and get pissed.
Por quê? Não vai tomar duas. Pode parar.
E o comentário, Ana? Não sei se você fazer. Vira a câmera aí. Os caras estão bebendo mais do que vaca véia.
Sério mesmo?
Puta merda, eu vou morrer nas caipirinhas.
Eu só vi um caipirinha.
Não, agora o cara aqui do lado pediu mais duas. Fudeu.
Nossa, eu tô com os lascados na tua cara.
Não, para, eu sou gorda.
Não, vai, pronto, agora tá normal. meu Deus do céu.
It's really warm in here. It's warm.
Yeah. Todo mundo rindo agora. Eu sabia que eles estavam com fome. Tá todo mundo feliz agora. Thank you. O Peito tenta ensinar português pro tênis. Um dicionário muito tabajara, olha isso. A culpa toda é muito cima das rádios. Ele fala que
Vamos poder falar uma palavra em português. Crazy louco.
Yeah, as you can see, we're all young at one time, you know, back in the day. But it is strange. An actor sent me this video already, probably about a year ago, actually, and I never knew that I obviously would use it for the vlog at some point. It's a video that's exceptionally interesting, of course. And when you look back, of course, to stuff like this, it's just absolutely insane, of course, isn't it? And it's so fantastic that we have this kind of video that we can share and that we can look back and enjoy, of course. I will, of course, put this video at some point on a vlog, make a vlog, of course, a little bit of information, of course, stuff like that. Always part of fun and games. Let's see who's online anyway. Yeah, Sarah, you look so young, of course. 21 years ago, yes, it's true, I was so mad at the time because the person sold the show didn't take care of its important details, so I decided to bring the band back to Sao Paulo. Natsuko, so cute. Ooh. Yes, Sarah, I didn't only look young, but 21 years ago, I was... How old was I? Yeah, 29. Yeah, back in the day, man. It was like, for me at that time, we'd done the Japan thing. We'd been to Japan with Pink Cream 69 with DC Cooper, and then we went to Brazil. It was just an amazing time because we'd made the record Electrified, I think, at the time, and not long after that, we would we would travel. We would go a second time to Brazil. And we would play together with Glenn Hughes, actually, and I would meet a lot of the people that I met the first time. But it was certainly not the same as the first time. The first time was just really, truly incredible. And me, you know, a young boy from Burnley, of course, you know, I just made like two records basically or actually 3 records with Pink Cream 69. And to be able to travel the world and to go to Brazil and Japan and stuff like that, that was just truly incredible, you know. Yeah. Yeah, you know, DC, I met DC also around that time, would have been like 23 years ago for the first time. And he'd been in Royal Hunt, and he'd left Royal Hunt, and he was looking for a solo career, of course. Pink Cream basically Costa from Pink Cream 69 was working for Bottom Row. And he felt it was his duty to basically make, you know, a solo band for him. So he basically formed Pink Cream 69. And I'm actually on his solo record that he did make. I don't know if he made another solo record after that. But I'm also singing on backing vocals actually on some tracks. We just went along and we did it. It was just fun and games, you know. If you look on the inside sleeve, you can also see a picture of me wearing a Toy Story t-shirt. I was a bit funny back then, you know. I was kind of like a bit cool and stuff, so I felt it was cool to wear a Toy Story t-shirt at that time. But now looking back, it was not cool at all, and it was in grey. I never wear grey anyway. But it was nice meeting him, and you know, we'd go to Japan and we'd go to Brazil, and basically the Pink Cream band with Tor Osby from Conception, I think they're called. I met Tor as well at the same time. And they would go on stage, you know, Pink Cream 69 would play, they would change, and then they would change into different clothes. Tor would come on stage with a keyboard player from Vandenplas, and they would then do the show. So it was quite incredible. It was a very cheap way to take two bands to another country. That's true. The second time was it 2007? It just seems 2007. Yeah, possibly. Yeah. It just seems so long. It is long ago, of course, 2007, but more familiar than the first time, admittedly. I remember that. I remember returning back from Brazil and then doing a Go Music straight after that and getting absolutely no sleep. But the 2007 Brazil was definitely, it was just absolute mayhem. I remember getting there and having we had like 3 days to hang out and stuff, and it was like, oh yeah, we got a show to do tonight. I'd almost forgotten, you know. But the strangest place you've played? Well, that's a good question, and I'll have to think about that one. I'll either answer it or I won't. But at the moment, it's coolest places, of course, is the first time in Japan, you know. Wasn't particularly strange. Yeah, I played the first concert with Pink Cream 69 was played in front of a band called Böse Onkels. Now the Böse Onkels are a very famous band in Germany, a little bit well known for the right wing, kind of a little bit of a Nazi kind of thing going on, even though they claim that they're not, of course. But there was like 10,000 people while Pink Cream 69 were playing. My first concert was with 10,000 people outside a beautiful place, and the whole audience was singing. In German, they call an American an Ami for army, and they really sang the whole concert, Ami geh heim, Ami geh heim. American go home. They thought I was American, and so the whole concert, American go home, American go home. Fashion design, yeah, of course, but I was never strictly daring. Of course, I'm quite daring these days, you know, wearing my t-shirt, of course. But 21 people online, that's good. And you know, yeah, I was never a spandex kind of guy, you know, so there was never any, you know, spandex thing going on, of course, in my life. Maybe the guys in the beginning, if they look back to the original Pink Cream 69 records, you know. But you got to imagine, when I first joined the band in 93, 94, I was 23 years old, and it was just off the back of a bit of grunge going on, you know what I mean? I liked a bit of Soundgarden, you know. I liked a bit of Chris Cornell. The vocals always impressed me, and you know, Rage Against the Machine, shit like that, man. So I was kind of modern in my mind, in a way, you know, of course. Pink Cream 69, of course, were more melodic, of course, and you know, we'd gone back to the roots with Electrified, and but up until then, I've always been kind of quite open-minded, but never a spandex kind of guy. Yeah, man. So here we go. Let's see if I can find a little bit more of a young Mr. Readman. Unfortunately, I'm going to have to forward it a little bit for you guys to really find what's going on.
That's eroded. Oh, man. Hey,
More. One second. Let me stop this on.
Yeah, and as you can imagine, you can maybe see basically the whole thing just turned into absolute mayhem, of course. I mean, you know, we were traveling back on the bus and the only thing that you could possibly do was just get some beers from the petrol station on the way back and just drink and drink and drink and drink and just tell stories and just have an incredible time. I mean, we got back to the hotel, I guess, about 3 o'clock, and probably the next day, something like that, or the day after, we were flying back to Germany. It was obviously, you know, these trips were quite often quite short. It was like 3 or 4 days, something like that. You just sort of arrive. Same as like in Australia when I was with Tank. It was a longer trip. We had a day off, and then within a day we were on stage, you know, and we flew every day. Hello, Claire. Yeah, that's true. A lot of Americans were in the army, of course, in America, in Germany, and then in probably about 10 years, maybe a bit longer, they left. They started pulling out of Germany. There was a lot of German bases where I lived in Karlsruhe at that time. There was a PX, and there was a German air base where a lot of people would play music there and stuff like that. And I'd been there a couple of times, but it was not easy to get in. You needed to know somebody to get inside these bases. And you'd go in these shops and it was like an American store, you know. It was just incredible. It was just like being in America. There were cinemas and all, and McDonald's and all that kind of stuff. A totally American place, you know, American. And to this day there is a village there which I ended up living in later on, with an English library which I would go to sometimes in Germany. Still there, like an English language library, which is possibly the only one left in Germany. And also the streets were named after generals, American generals from the war and stuff like that. So it was all very strange, but it was an amazing place. And then, of course, the Americans pulled out, and you know, there was a lot less Americans to be had, of course, in the city, you know. So a lot of companies who were surviving from the Americans, they stopped their jobs, you know. Yeah, it's true. I still know a lot of American Canadian guys who still live in Germany. Basically, they got married to a German lady, or they had a child, which was maybe a mistake or something like that, and they're still there. You know, the possibly black American guys who are doing a lot of music and stuff like that in Germany. And so I met a lot of people, a lot of American people through the years. It was always strange to be somewhere and then suddenly meet this American guy on a German festival, you know, and then be friends forever again. You know, I just recently met some guy on Facebook, you know, again, that I haven't spoke to a long time, and he's still in Germany, got a couple of kids and stuff like that. And when he speaks English, he's almost got like a German accent, you know, an American guy. Funny, really funny. So as you can see, yeah, Karlsruhe, that's where I used to live. 22 years habe ich da gewohnt. Und deshalb kann man ein bisschen Deutsch sprechen. So jetzt, we're on the main video. As you can see, check this out, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. As you can see, maybe here you see the GoFundMe sign, and here you see 4,000 euros raised from the 5,000 goal, ladies and gentlemen. We are getting there. We recently had an incredible donation from somebody. I won't mention anybody's names, but they donated a substantial amount of money where I was really shocked, really incredible. Obviously, thank you very much. Thank you so much if you're watching tonight. And he took us up to the 4,000 mark. I also had some incredible donations on PayPal recently as well. Also fantastic donations. And that money already basically paid for the mix of the latest track, you know. So it's all going to the right place, and it's incredible, 4,000. And slowly but surely it's getting more and more comfortable to make this record. I just talked to Jobert Mello from Sledgehammer Graphics, and he's now working on the inside cover of the CD. You know, obviously we don't have all the titles of the tracks just yet. We got most of the titles, but he's now putting all those names into the artwork, of course, and that's what I promised, and that's what's going to happen. Who's online? I noticed a few tracks coming up. Yeah, 4,000 euros. We are in business. Thank you, Sam. Thank you. Great for coming up with these questions. Yeah, I mean, Steve Lee was just really an incredible singer. He was, in my opinion, influenced quite a bit from, like, you know, a singer like David Coverdale, probably a little bit. Obviously, other stuff, but you could always hear a bit of Whitesnake in their influence. He had an incredible voice. He could probably sing great every single night. He probably didn't have a bad night ever in his life. Unfortunately, he's left us already. I think it's already 10 years ago, something like that. And yes, I did meet him because they were a band that were also heavily connected with Bottom Road, the same management as Pink Cream 69. And so I met the band and we played together quite a few times. I think it was like 2 or 3 times that we'd actually played together. And there was one time in Cologne, there was always like a Popcom, it was called. It was like a meeting of all the record companies and artists would come together in Frankfurt. Actually, it was in Frankfurt or in Cologne. And Gotthard were playing. It was like a special evening, like a celebration of probably of Bottom Row, something like that. And I went on stage. That's another vlog, actually. I went on stage with Steve Lee and Gotthard, and I sang Rock and Roll from Led Zeppelin. So, you know, backstage we rehearsed a song together. You know, who would sing what? Been a long time since I rock and rolled. You know, and I worked with Steve Lee real quick there. And then we went on stage and we did it, you know. And what I noticed about Steve was he wasn't particularly a loud singer. Possibly he sang louder on stage, but, you know, I realized he had this really, you know, this voice that you could recognize and you knew from Steve Lee, but he wasn't a loud singer, which is not a bad thing. It's a good thing. It means that you can sing every night, no problem. You're not using so much, you know, energy and so much power, you know. And what can I say? That was just an incredible experience, and I don't think many people ever got the chance to do that. But there might be some video somewhere, but I've never seen it. But yeah, it was that was an incredible day. And then, of course, years later, when he was gone, I felt, you know, privileged that I'd had this chance to sing with him, you know. Yeah, like I said, they were on the same. Oh, I better rewind this, guys. Been running off the reel. I had the chance, yeah, like I said, to work with these guys, and I think possibly the second gig that I ever did with Pink Cream 69 was with Bottom Row somewhere near in Rastatt. It was called near Karlsruhe, and we'd played, and then Gotthard were the headlining at the Garage, if I remember rightly. So I met these guys quite a few times, you know, and also we might have even played in the Italienische Schweiz. So the Italian, you know, the part of Italy where they speak German and Italian. And it's possible that we played also there with Gotthard many years ago. Thank you very much, Sam. It was just incredible, you know. I really remember it really like yesterday, you know. It was incredible to practice this song, and it was like a real spontaneous kind of thing, you know. We'd kind of mentioned it, but it wasn't clear. And I went especially to that festival. So I don't know how I got there. I got there on somebody in a car or something, and really just went there for that reason, to sing with Steve, you know. And was probably 10 years later or something like that, and he was gone, you know. It was just so sad, you know. Yes, I hope we do, Mark. I certainly hope we do. Yeah, So I hope to, the next couple of weeks get the next reveal out. Like I said, we got an Italian on guitar. We got another Dutchman on bass, and we got Julian on keyboards. I've revealed the drummer, Michael Kohler, from he was back in the day working with me with Almanac. And yeah, the mix went really well. It went really well. I mean, of course, you got to imagine when you're making these kind of records, you're taking the drums from, you're sending it over the internet. I'm getting the guitars from Italy. My friend, the bass player, actually lives around the corner, but, we're not allowed to see each other and all that shit. But, it's just incredible how these things work. And, it's possible to make records, of course. And Dennis called me up and we had a bit of a chat where we wanted to go with a mix and stuff. And I think it was yesterday he finally sent me the final master and I uploaded it. And the rest is history, basically. And now it's really just a case, of course, at the moment of, finding some, I'm brainstorming on a regular basis every day, trying to think of a, cool way to make a really cool video, of course. I have made a start, but I still have a bit of time. It's not a biggie. I guess from now on, it's just under 4 weeks before the single comes out. Really looking forward to it. It's going to be another great track that obviously needs to be shared and pushed, and everybody does their bit. And yeah, radio play and all that kind of stuff, interviews. But what I've realized more than anything recently is that a lot of people are waiting for the final album. They accept, 1 or 2 singles, it's kind of cool, but they're waiting for the final album to do a review, and that's the old-fashioned way, I guess. But that's how it is. I have to accept that. Who's online? Yeah, let's get a bit of chat on the screen. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, like Mark said, and the whole accident thing, what happened there, and it was just incredible. I mean, doing so, he had an accident on a bike and doing something that you really love. In a way, that's one way to go, of course, but it is sad. It is sad, absolutely. All right. We've got another 12 minutes, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. If you've got any more questions, and you want to answer me about what's going on or whatever, like I said, like we talked about, the GoFundMe is looking really incredible. We're now working on the rest of the artwork for the record. Second single is now, been uploaded, and that should be, obviously released on Spotify and everything. The plays on Spotify has been incredible. Everybody's been really supportive as usual. Unfortunately, I've got to admit, with this stream, I didn't advertise it early enough, and we got 21 people online. It's a shame. Would have been, I think we've had about 36 sometimes. Would be nice to get a few more. There is actually a bit more going on Facebook, and the last stream was a bit was a bit mad, obviously calling people up. I'm going to really strive for this Friday, definitely to get a guest in. Yeah, I think it's important to get a guest in. I always enjoy, doing the interviews and stuff like that. Let's not forget, I just noticed this here again. Let's not forget Pink Cream 69. And this record was released. Yeah, good question. Any dates on there? No. That's like a couple of years ago. And yeah, the pictures actually, I don't know if you can see that on there, possibly not, if you've got the vinyl. The pictures were incredible. We did those in Karlsruhe in a very small church in the woods, and in a way I would like to make a video there, of course, but I am not allowed to travel. Like I said, I've just watched the press conference today. Apparently we're losing the curfew on the evenings, which is a good thing. We can finally play out because it's still light here. It's just going dark a little bit now, and we can now play out a little bit for a change. And like I said, the beer gardens are opening kind of up until now. See, I need some new socks. I'm desperate for new socks, and I am not ordering socks online, ladies and gents, because ordering socks online is boring. 22 people online. Who else we got? Kate Barnwell this week. Yeah, you know, last Friday was cool. I called Mark up and oh my God, Sarah, she always comes up with these fantastic questions. Chips with gravy or chips with mushy peas? Oh. Well, I'm a northern lad, so it's going to be chips with mushy peas, to be honest. And I'll tell you something. I'll tell you now. You see, it's sometimes quite difficult because you obviously you're an artist, right? Piss artist. You're an artist, right? And you go to Spain, and you know you're singing serious stuff, and I'm very serious about the music, of course. You know, I've always liked to have fun and games in my life, but the music is, of course, very serious for me. I like to make good songs, and if I sing, I like to, you know, it's a serious thing for me. There's no doubt about it. But I'm also the kind of guy that just loves mayhem and a bit of fun, you know. Now, you go to Spain and they can't believe that this guy from Pickering 69, this singer, is absolutely mad as a hatter, you know. And it's something that they can't really get their head around. And I remember back in the day, they couldn't really quite grasp it, but you know. But anyway, coming to the mayhem in my life, chips and gravy is doable, but it's got to be chips and mushy peas. I miss it. I really miss mushy peas. And I've been known to get a plate full of mushy peas, fill it with vinegar, and put those mushy peas on bread and eat it like a sandwich. I'm very sorry. I'm really sorry. I'm a northern lad. You know what I mean? We were used to, you know, we had nothing when we were kids. You know, it was just after the war when I was a child. So we were used to nout, you know. Absolutely incredible. Now let's go back to some serious questions here. But that was very serious. Imagine you reckon 80s, 90s, how much money would you have to... That is a good question. Now, of course, you might think, you know, $5,000, you know, I don't know what $5,000 to you is. It's a okay second-hand car, is it? You know, one that's probably going to break after a year or whatever. $5,000. What's $5,000? $5,000's like a small holiday with 4 or 5 kids. You know. Now, you know, $5,000 is... It's not a massive amount of money, but if you do it right, you know, and do it in a very, you know, you're watching the pennies, it is possible to make a record, you know. But less than 5, it's not comfortable anymore. But, you know, I'm probably going to invest, you know, time and money from myself into this record as well. But this extra money that's been donated, of course, makes the whole thing a lot more possible. Without it, I would not be making a solo record. Honestly, it's not possible at this time to do this. Everybody's dipped in their pocket and they've donated. They've, you know, you've basically ordered the CD, you know, you've ordered the CD in vinyl or whatever, you know, which I'll be sending to you. That'll be the next challenge, of course, you know, sending it to everybody. A lot of people have donated. Now, back in the 80s, I'll tell you now, the first Pink Cream 69 video that we made with me, which is 20th Century Boy, I think you can find it on YouTube somewhere, I can tell you now, was 150,000 German marks. Okay? 150,000 German marks, right? Now, in euros, don't ask me. In guilders, same kind of thing, probably 140,000 guilders, loads of money. Now, the people that made that video were the people who made, it was an Austrian company, quite famous, and they'd made some of the Queen videos. I want to break free, that kind of stuff. They'd made that, or they were somehow a part of making those videos. So, of course, these were famous video makers, right? And they still exist. There are people out there that are famous for, you know, whatever, and they cost a lot of money. you know. But the record company, we were signed to Sony Music, okay. Now, to make that first record, I don't know. But I'll tell you now, we all flew to California, and we stayed there for 6 weeks in California, in a hotel somewhere. We went to a real studio. Now, do the maths, you know what I'm saying? Back then, when there was like record companies and people were all buying CDs and albums and all that kind of stuff, and there was no MP3s and all that kind of stuff, okay, maybe you'd need like 35,000 euros to make a record. You needed to go to a studio. You couldn't record at home, you know. And of course, things have changed. And in a way, the plus point is a lot of stuff you can do at home. You can record. You don't need a machine like this, you know, to record the vocals. I do it on a computer or whatever, you know. A drummer can probably record at home, and you know, through the miracle of science and great mixing guys like Dennis Ward, it's possible to make these tracks sound like $1 million, you know. But back in the day, that was not really that possible. You needed a studio with a 24 track in there, you know, and a studio was probably costing about 500 or 600 euros a day with a producer. So you can imagine, you know, these days, you know, it's not easy. You know, we're not complaining, we're not crying. You know, we've had, as musicians, we've had already one blow that, of course, the MP3 destroyed the whole music business and took away all the record companies. It's like a record company, it's like a bank that give you the money to make the record. You're going to have to probably give it them back. But if you sell a lot of records, you're going to be able to give it back quite fast. You're going to make some money on top. And they're a bank that know lots of people. And they, you know how to market your product, right? Now, of course, a lot of these banks, record companies, are not there anymore, you know. So what they do is, the ones that are still there, Universal, stuff like that, they do the talent shows and fill it up with music, old music from their back catalogue, of course, so that when it's played on TV, they're still making money from that person singing that song that is part of their catalogue, you know. And a lot of these shows are basically from record companies. It's the only way for them to make money these days, you know, obviously with TikTok and all that shit. Yes, Phil, you know, studio time was, I mean, these days it still is. If you go in a real studio, if you go in Abbey Road, now, it was probably a dream of mine. I'm a big Beatles fan, believe it or not, you know, good education, bit of Beatles. And if you go to Abbey Road, of course, the famous music studio where the Beatles recorded their album Abbey Road, and they did a lot of their recordings there with Martin, right, what's his name? What's he called? Martin? That's stupid. That's the age showing through. But George Martin, he's died unfortunately. His son still does a lot of stuff in Abbey Road. If you want to go there to this day, of course, it's still going to cost you a load of money to go in there, of course, you know. But a lot of these studios are gone because nobody goes there anymore. They can't pay it. But I think these days, you probably pay 250, 300 euros a day, maybe with a producer. But with a good producer with a name, he's going to want more money, you know. And the question is, you know, how long are you going to work? Are you going to start at 12 midday and work till 6, 7 in the evening? Whereas back in the day, a lot of these artists, they would record in the night. You know, they would be drinking all night, you know, whatever, partying, get up at like 12, 1 o'clock, have some breakfast, maybe work on some stuff, and then start recording about 4 or 5 o'clock and work into the night, because the night time is quiet, the telephone's not ringing, you know. And when I was there with Pink Room 69 in the beginning in California, you know, you can imagine I'd gone from Burnley to California. That was a bit of a shock. It was a bit of a shock. And you know, we also did a lot of work in the night. We played the record in live. The record is a live recording, the first album, Change With Me. It's the band plays the songs live in. I sang a lot of stuff, but I repaired stuff after with some incredible mics that the record company had. And we would often be working 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning, you know. So it was always a good time. It's a good time for music, you know. Yeah. And Akhtar, she closed a shop because of the MP3. Yeah, Visiload was also an expensive place. A lot of people went there, of course. It was a well-known studio. It was a place to go to. Fortunately, I never went there. The funny thing is with the MP3, it was from the Fraunhofer Institute in Germany, and they first came up with the MP3, and they offered it, I think there's a story, they offered it to Sony Music, and they turned it down. So the Fraunhofer Institute just let it go into the then internet. And basically, the internet was so slow at that time, you couldn't really send anything. You could send a fax or maybe a small picture. But if you reduced the size of a wave of a song to an MP3 to like 3.5 megabytes, you could maybe send that over the internet. And that's how it started. These days, of course, there's absolutely, we're sending gigabytes now, of course. But at that time, that was how it all started. And before you knew it, Steve Jobs had made the iPod, and the rest is history, basically. Yeah, Fraunhofer, MP3. Serious question. Do you think that the pandemic has changed the music world forever? And can we go back to what it is? Yes. And no. It's changed it forever, just like the MP3. Like I said, we as musicians, we already had the biggest blow, of course, the MP3, and losing record companies and all that kind of stuff, that we have to somehow still make records on a low budget and still survive and all that business. Live still did work, of course, and I had a good life. Basically I was out most weekends and traveling and here's and there's, and working at the same time, and was very busy quite often. But that's life. You've got to make your money, no problem. Now, the next part of that question, can we return? I think we can return to some kind of normal. I was out on my bike today, bit of exercise for an old man, and it seemed really normal. Sometimes you see people with masks on the bike, whatever, which is obviously a bit strange, but I never do that. And it seems like normal. It seems like normal life. But as soon as you want to get together and do stuff with people, of course, then things change, of course. I don't want to be negative, but I think it's going to take time. I think the biggest part of the problem is two main important things, which is a game changer, is that the people are scared, number one. Of course, if you've had the vaccine, maybe it helps. Number one, people are scared after so much time. And number two, the clubs that were there before, are they still there? Actually, there's 3 points. Are they still there, the clubs that were there before? And the third point is, can he pay the same money that he was paying you before this shit happened? Probably not. Hi, Phil. Yeah, a 0 social distancing gig in Liverpool next month. I think it's good. I mean, they're trying stuff out, for whatever reason. For me, in my opinion, of course, and I think most people's opinion is just get everybody vaccinated and just open the bloody doors. Let's get on with this. I mean, if this would have happened like 50 years ago, 60 years ago, there was no hand disinfection, there was no masks on a mass production, we would have never locked down like this. And I've got family and friends that have had COVID. It's not something that you should push away and just say it's nothing. It's definitely real. But I'm not completely sure about the way that we've dealt with it is necessarily the best thing. But anyway, who the hell am I? Yeah, that's it, man. WeTransfer, I mean, WeTransfer is like gold. I remember back then, you were facing the next dilemma. You could record stuff and you could send it online, no problem. But how? How would you send like such big files online? That was one dilemma. And of course, WeTransfer started, and that sorted that out, of course. And then you needed a good internet connection, and there was, you'd probably need like half a day to send like a vocal to somebody. Whereas these days, thank goodness for that, I have an incredible internet connection and I can download like 2.5 gigs in about 3.5 minutes, which is just incredible. Without that, something like what we're doing was, starting with the streaming or even, making videos and stuff like that was just not possible. Yeah, it's funny because, like, obviously me being a musician, I was obviously traveling a lot, being a musician and doing my thing. And I never realized the other side of the coin, because you get a lot of fans who, they're professional fans, They're traveling around watching gigs more than I'm probably doing gigs, you'd meet them in Miami, you'd meet them on a ship somewhere, and for them it's like their life to go on like 2 or 3 cruises, and save up. And then I'd go to UK with Pink Cream 69, and I'd play the Firefest or Rockingham and meet the same people there. And you're like, these people are more on the road than I am, they're like professional fans, and it's a big part of their life, it's just a massive part of their existence, not only just to listen to the music, but to support the musician and to know about that person. They want to know more about this particular person, how he ticks, and they want to meet up with these people, and if possible they want to be a bit friends with these people, and it is possible. There is definitely a difference between somebody who's all crazy and shit, oh my God, and normal people that you do meet, of course, and they become friends, even though you may not meet them again for a long time, but they will become friends that you would never have met otherwise, if it wasn't for the music business, and obviously without those people, there is no music business, and obviously I'm really thankful. And the cruise was always an eye-opener, because all these crazy people who live for the music, that they can't play a note on the guitar, they don't sing, they've never really had any music background, but they live and breathe music probably more than some of the artists. They're sitting on this boat on the way to Jamaica, absolutely incredible, big eye-opener, absolutely incredible. It was just a joy, and you needed to really fully understand this kind of thing. A lot of people just go there and just get pissed, the artists, and just get pissed for like a week and not even begin to imagine what it's all about, and I'm the kind of person, whatever I do, I have to analyze it, I have to work out what exactly is going on here. I need to know what's going on here exactly in my mind, whereas a lot of people, they just get pissed all week, do their music, just go home, not even think for a second about where they've been and what it's really all about. But that's okay. Each to their own, each to their own. There was a guy next to me on the first cruise, and somehow he'd smuggled some dope onto the boat, man. I mean, it was 24/7 drugs. And I'd opened my door, right, and the guy that was cleaning, I'd actually got to know the guy. Funny enough, I got to know him, to speak to him a little bit. How are you? Give him some money or whatever. Guy from Philippines, probably. And he always thought it was me that was smoking. I said, no way, man, it's this guy next door. I don't know who it is. It was an artist from one of the bands, but he was 24/7 high, man. It was incredible. Yeah, I think, just on a last note there, of course, they do these like research things, I mean, let's be honest. I mean, if somebody goes in there who's got corona, right, to one of these concerts, right, and they're not wearing masks and all that business, right, it's very possible he's going to give some people corona. It's going to happen, if you go to a gig, right, and you're full of a cold, like, remember when you used to get a cold and you go out anyway on the pace because you've got a cold, but you're not feeling bad. But you still go out because you want to go out. You take some paracetamol or whatever. It's very possible that your friends you were hanging out with, right, are going to get a cold as well because you'd had a drink and you'd been touching each other or whatever. But it's also very possible that they didn't get any trouble at all. Of course this is going to happen. To me, what do you want to experiment? I mean, sometimes it's going to be really bad and sometimes it's not. So, I mean, masks probably don't make any difference whatsoever. I think a mask out of a hospital might help. But one of these sort of plastic masks, don't you think it's gonna virus is gonna go like this or something? Anyway. Hello, Britta, you're in the house. You always come on late. Yeah, the connection. There's this connection, and it's like I was doing some business thing recently, and it's a business meeting, and you shake someone's hand. If you meet a guy business-wise, you're going to shake his hand, and that's the first contact, right? And it sets up the deal. It shows what kind of person you are by shaking hands. Now you don't do that anymore. You don't do it anymore. It's no problem. You just don't do it anymore. But it's stupid. Anyway, I'll drink some more of my energy drink. Yeah. Great to see everybody on tonight. We could just go on forever, couldn't we? But that's my side of the nonsense. Honestly, I try and keep well away from any kind of cities and stuff like that, because as soon as you get in the city, you really, you're confronted by this absolute mayhem that's going on. And I don't like it. I don't like it, to be honest. At some point, I'll be allowed over the border again to Germany. And I think in summer it's possible that, there'll be some kind of gigs going on. Last summer I did some special gigs outside. I did one gig inside with the Purple family. And it was a nice gig, but there was nobody really there, and you could tell people were not happy and they were scared. So, things are going to have to change in a big way. But like I said, unfortunately, I've always said 5 years. But thank you so much for tuning in. That was definitely was 50% more constructive streaming this time than the mayhem that we normally have. Although the fish and chips with mushy peas did change a little bit. It did broke the ice a little bit, and like I said, I'm a mushy peas kind of guy. Yeah, we're all the same. We want to get back to what we had before. Everybody's frustrated. It's nasty. It's tough. It's a tough business, and I'm absolutely completely sick of it. All the restrictions, and nobody likes the freedom taken away from them. And you see all this stuff on the TV and people coming together and stuff. And on one side you think, well, you're not allowed to do that, but on the other side, hey, it's a human thing. It's such a human thing a tribal thing, to come together and enjoy and have friends and stuff like that, and it just makes the whole life so much better. That's what life's all about. It's not all about going to work and just watching TV and just sitting at home, and stroking the cat. Disponia. Education show tonight. Thanks, Mr. Readman. Yeah, like I say, fun and games, but there is a serious side to things, and I'm what I like to think is I'm a realist. I'm not a disillusionist. I'm not disillusioned, and I'm realistic about what's going on. Sometimes when you're so realistic, you can be a bit negative and stuff like that. I do believe you know, things are going to change, things are going to get better. We're on a slow road back. I think the UK's on the right way. With Boris, they might call him all the names under the sun and his horrendous hairstyle and all that kind of business, but he's been able to turn things around a little bit, and that's good. That's good. It's compared to the rest of the world, rest of Europe and stuff like, especially Germany and also here in the Netherlands. It's a bit of a mess. You know, there's not much vaccines going on. I've had no smell of a vaccine. You know, the UK, I think if you're like 42, 41, something like that, you've already got maybe a letter. Like here, there's nothing, and that's a letdown. That sure is a letdown. Anyway, stay safe and well, everybody. I hope this week to have another reveal for you guys on my next record, The Fallen, on my next single. And yeah, I've asked the guys, so I'm looking forward to their little videos so I can make a nice reveal for you guys. Always look forward to that. It's been a great pleasure. 23 people online. So I'll see you guys hopefully on Friday night on Facebook. And there we will have a special guest for sure with video. And so we're probably going to do a video and maybe some cheeky Russian roulette calling because it's fun. Thank you, Rizzy Rocket. Thanks, Sarah and Akhtar. We're sick and tired of it all. Thank you, Mark. Kate. Thank you so much. Going down, Britta, Metzger. Vielen Dank. Schönen Abend. Yeah, incredible. Thanks for everybody tuning in tonight. Phil Scott, of course, my main man. Yeah, of course, I should mention the t-shirt, otherwise Phil will be upset with me. Don't forget, t-shirts are still out there. Still very much available to you guys. Mushy Peas. Yeah, Claire, of course, from France. I think I've pulled everybody in. Bye, bis zum nächsten Mal. Du sprichst ja Deutsch, oder was? Wer ist denn das überhaupt? Ich schau mal auf das Bild. Ist das Carola? Ich habe ja keine Ahnung, hey. Das ist ja das Problem. Manchmal haben die Leute irgendwelche komischen Namen irgendwie und dann versteht man nicht ganz genau, um wem das geht überhaupt. Good night, everybody. Thanks again for an incredible live stream. Thank you so much for tuning in. My name's David Readman. If you're just going by or whatever, and you just tuned in real quick, I've just made my solo record, and I have a YouTube channel. Check out the videos. Go and have a look at the mayhem that I did there in Miami and all the places. We had a look at Brazil a little bit tonight, and I hope to put that into a vlog back in the day, 21 years ago. And Akhtar made all that possible. Thanks to everybody for getting us online and on the radio and everything. Britta, danke. Die Augen, schönen Abend. Sam Scott, adios. There's only gemütlich, gemütlich. And there's only one thing to say at this point, unfortunately. But I have to get my finger on the machine. And that is, adios! Hi, my name's David Readman. Check out my new single.
Looking for the answers that I cannot find. I was just so wrong to know the love is
Shelter from the Storm.
I've been searching for the reason in my mind. Now I know.
Available from the 2nd of April. From my upcoming record, Medusa. Available on all good streaming sites.